I never thought my own brother would destroy my life while smiling at me across the dinner table. My name is Maya Rodriguez, and this is the story of how my golden child brother stole my $1,000,000 invention, crushed my dreams, and how I finally got my revenge when karma hit him live on national television. But first, let me tell you just how toxic my family really was. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel, and let me know where you're listening from in the comments. I'm Maya, 28 years old, and I've always been the invisible child in my family. While my older brother Jake got praised for breathing, I had to work twice as hard for half the recognition. I'm a mechanical engineer at a tech startup in Silicon Valley, and I've spent my entire career trying to prove myself worthy of my family's love and respect. Spoiler alert, it never worked. 2 years ago, I was working on something that would change everything. A revolutionary smart home security device that could detect intruders, monitor air quality, and even predict potential break-ins using AI algorithms I'd developed myself. I was so excited about this project because finally, I had something that would make my family see me as more than just the quiet, nerdy daughter who lived in Jake's shadow. Jake, by the way, is 31 and works in marketing for some tech company. He's always been the charming one, the one who could talk his way out of anything, the one who made friends effortlessly while I buried myself in textbooks and circuit boards. My parents, Patricia and Carlos, have worshipped the ground he walks on since we were kids, and honestly, I spent most of my childhood thinking that was normal. The first red flag should have been that family dinner where I announced my project. I remember being so nervous, but so proud as I explained my smart security device to everyone. I had my sketches with me, my excitement bubbling over as I described how the sensors would work, how the AI would learn patterns, how this could revolutionize home security for millions of people. My mom barely looked up from her phone. "That's nice, dear," she said in that tone she uses when she's not really listening. My dad actually fell asleep at the table while I was explaining the technical aspects. But the moment I finished talking, Jake jumped in with some story about his latest marketing campaign, and suddenly everyone was fully engaged, laughing and asking questions. "Jake's so creative," my mom gushed. "You should see the way he thinks outside the box. Maybe you could learn something from him, Maya." I felt that familiar sting, but I pushed it down. This was nothing new. I'd been dealing with this my entire life, Jake getting credit for mediocre achievements, while my actual accomplishments got dismissed or ignored entirely. When I graduated summa cum laude from Stanford, my parents spent the whole celebration dinner talking about Jake's promotion at work. When I won the Innovation Award at my company last year, my mom's response was, "Well, Jake could have done that too if he was interested in engineering." But Jake seemed different around this time. He started showing interest in my work, asking questions when our parents weren't around. "You're so brilliant, Maya," he'd say with that charming smile of his. "I could never understand all this technical stuff like you do. Show me how it works." I was so starved for family validation that I ate it up. Finally, my big brother was recognizing my talents. Finally, someone in my family cared about what I was doing. When he asked to see my home workshop, I was thrilled. When he wanted to take pictures of my prototypes to show my friends how amazing my sister is, I practically glowed with pride. My Aunt Sophia was the only one who saw through it all. She'd always been my ally in this family of people, who seemed determined to make me feel small. "Maya, honey," she warned me over coffee one afternoon, "be careful how much you share with Jake." I've seen that look in his eyes before, but I made excuses. I always made excuses for my family's behavior, because I desperately wanted to believe they loved me as much as I loved them. "He's probably just trying to bond with me," I told Sophia. "Maybe he's finally appreciating my work. I should be happy he's showing interest for once, right?" Sophia just shook her head, but I wasn't ready to hear what she was trying to tell me. The questions Jake asked became more detailed, more specific. He wanted to know about my patent plans, my timeline, my manufacturing ideas. He asked about my professors from college who had helped with early research, about my coworkers who might be interested in investing. I told myself he was being a supportive brother, maybe even thinking about helping me with the business side of things. Then came that night that changed everything. I'd been working late at the office, debugging some code, when I realized I'd forgotten some important documents at home. I drove back to my apartment around midnight, exhausted but satisfied with the progress I'd made. My workshop is in the converted garage behind my building, and I always keep it locked because my prototypes and research are in there. But as I approached the workshop, I saw light coming from inside. My heart started racing as I quietly unlocked the door, thinking maybe I'd been robbed. Instead, I found Jake inside, holding his phone up, systematically photographing every single page of my patent documentation, every blueprint, every prototype component. "Jake?" My voice came out as barely a whisper. "What are you doing?" He didn't even look guilty. That charming smile spread across his face as he slipped his phone into his pocket. "Maya, hey, I was just showing Mom and Dad some pictures of how amazing your setup is here. They couldn't believe how professional everything looks." Something cold settled in my stomach. "At midnight? And how did you get in here?" "I keep this locked." "Oh, you left it open earlier. I was just curious, you know? Wanted to see what my genius sister has been working on." His tone was so casual, so believable. "Mom and Dad are finally starting to understand how smart you are." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly. But as I looked around my workshop, I noticed things had been moved, papers shuffled, prototype components in different positions than where I'd left them. And there was something in Jake's eyes, a satisfaction that had nothing to do with brotherly pride. "I should get going," he said, brushing past me. "Great work, sis. This is really going to be something special." As I watched him walk away, every instinct I had was screaming that something was wrong. But I'd spent 28 years making excuses for my family, 28 years believing that they had my best interests at heart, even when all evidence pointed to the contrary. I had no idea that in 6 months, I'd see my entire life's work presented to the world with Jake's name on it. 6 months later, I was working late at my office when my entire world came crashing down. I was scrolling through tech news during my coffee break when I saw it, a headline that made my blood run cold. "Innovative startup founder Jake Rodriguez announces revolutionary home security device." My hands started shaking as I clicked the article. There, staring back at me, was a photo of my exact invention. Not similar, not inspired by. My exact device, down to the specific sensor placement and the unique hexagonal design I'd spent months perfecting. I must have read that article 20 times, hoping I was hallucinating from exhaustion. But there it was, in black and white. Jake had somehow founded a startup called Secure Home Technologies, and was presenting my invention as his own revolutionary creation. The article even included quotes from him explaining his design process and his breakthrough in AI integration. I drove to Jake's apartment like a woman possessed, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. I pounded on his door until he opened it, wearing that same charming smile that used to comfort me, but now made me sick. "Maya, what a nice surprise. Come in, come in. Jake, we need to talk." My voice was trembling with rage and disbelief. "I just saw the article about your startup." His smile didn't waver. "Oh, that. Yeah, isn't it exciting? I've been working on this project for months. You know how I am with keeping secrets until things are official. Working on it for months?" I pulled up the article on my phone, shoving it in his face. "This is my invention, Jake. This is the exact device I showed you in my workshop." "Whoa, Maya." He held up his hands like I was being crazy. "I know we both developed similar ideas, but great minds think alike, right? It happens all the time in tech. Besides, mine has some different features." "Different features?" "Jake, this is identical. Even the sensor configuration is exactly the same." He guided me to his couch with that condescending big brother tone he'd perfected over the years. "Maya, I think you're being a little paranoid here. Maybe the stress from your job is getting to you. You know how competitive the tech world is. It's probably making you see things that aren't there." That's when the gaslighting really began. Jake called an emergency family meeting the next day, spinning a story that portrayed me as having some kind of breakdown. By the time I arrived at my parents' house, he'd already painted me as the unstable sister who was jealous of his success. "I'm really worried about Maya," he told our parents, his voice dripping with fake concern. She's been under so much pressure at work, and now she's accusing me of stealing from her. I think she needs professional help. My mom looked at me with disappointment and pity. Maya, sweetheart, we know you're struggling, but accusing your brother of theft is going too far. Jake showed us his development timeline and all his research notes. Development timeline? I was incredulous. Mom, I've been working on this for 2 years. I showed it to all of you at dinner. You showed us some sketches, my dad said dismissively. Jake has a complete business plan, investor meetings, everything. Honey, this obsession with getting credit for everything isn't healthy. Jake had fabricated an entire timeline of his invention process, complete with fake documentation and staged photos. He'd even created fake email chains showing conversations with fictional mentors and investors. It was elaborate, calculated, and absolutely devastating. The worst part was watching my family choose to believe his lies over my truth. Every piece of evidence I presented was met with more gaslighting. You always thought you were smarter than Jake, my mom said during one particularly brutal conversation. But maybe it's time to accept that he's accomplished something you couldn't. This isn't about being smarter, I screamed, tears streaming down my face. This is about him literally stealing my work. Maya's professional jealousy is really concerning, Jake told our extended family, spreading his poison to aunts, uncles, and cousins. I just hope she gets the help she needs before this damages her career permanently. Meanwhile, his startup was gaining momentum. Within weeks, he'd secured $5 million in funding from major investors. The tech blogs were calling him a visionary and a breakthrough innovator. I had to watch my life's work being celebrated while I was painted as a delusional sister having a mental breakdown. The legal system offered no relief. Jake had filed provisional patents using my stolen documentation, and his lawyers argued that he developed the technology independently. Without concrete proof of the theft, I was stuck watching him profit from my invention. But the real torture was the family celebrations. Every milestone in Jake's fraudulent success became another family gathering, where I was forced to smile and pretend to be proud. His birthday party was the final straw. Standing in front of 50 family members and friends, Jake gave a speech about his journey to success. I want to thank my family for their unwavering support, he said, looking directly at me with that subtle smirk I had learned to recognize. Especially during the difficult times when some people doubted me. Their love and belief in me made all the difference. Everyone applauded while I stood there, humiliated and helpless, watching him twist the knife deeper. He was thanking them for supporting him while he destroyed me, and they were eating it up. Only Aunt Sophia saw through it all. After the party, she pulled me aside with tears in her eyes. Maya, honey, I saw your prototypes 2 years ago. I know this is theft. But your family has invested so much in believing Jake's version that they can't admit they're wrong without destroying their entire worldview. So what do? I whispered, completely broken. You have to decide, she said quietly, whether you want family peace or justice. Because you can't have both. That night, I sat in my apartment staring at my laptop screen, researching patent law and evidence requirements. I'd discovered something Jake didn't know about. A crucial mistake he'd made in his patent filing. He'd used my original blueprints, which included a specific serial number from my university capstone project. I had proof. Real, undeniable proof. But using it would mean nuclear war with my family. It would mean admitting that the people who were supposed to love me most had chosen money and pride over truth and justice. Then I saw the announcement that made my decision easy. Jake's product launch would be broadcast live on national television in 2 weeks, with major tech journalists and industry leaders in attendance. If he wanted to steal my life and humiliate me publicly, then I was going to return the favor. But I was going to do it right, with evidence that would destroy not just his career, but his entire fraudulent empire. It was time to stop making excuses and start making plans. 2 weeks of preparation changed everything. I wasn't the broken, gaslight sister anymore. I was a woman on a mission, and I had the evidence to back it up. Working with a patent attorney, I'd assembled an airtight case. The university serial number on Jake's stolen blueprints was just the beginning. I had email trails showing my entire development process, video footage of my early prototypes, and witness statements from professors who'd supervised my original capstone project. Most importantly, I had something Jake didn't know existed: recordings. For months, I'd been documenting every family interaction on my phone, initially just to convince myself I wasn't crazy. Now I had hours of audio proving the systematic gaslighting, including Jake's admission of theft, when he thought no one else could hear him. The morning of Jake's big launch, I filed an emergency patent infringement claim. Federal marshals were standing by, ready to serve legal documents. I'd even tipped off investigative tech journalists who were salivating over the story of Silicon Valley fraud. The Tech Forward conference was prestigious: 500 attendees, major investors, and a live stream reaching 50,000 viewers worldwide. Jake had rented the biggest ballroom, complete with massive screens and professional lighting. My parents sat in the front row, beaming with pride at their golden child's moment of triumph. I positioned myself in the back, live streaming on my phone, my heart pounding with anticipation. Jake looked confident as he took the stage in his expensive suit, that familiar charming smile plastered across his face. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm proud to present the future of home security, the Secure Home AI system. For 20 minutes, I watched him present my life's work as his own masterpiece. He explained his breakthrough algorithms, his innovative sensor design, his revolutionary approach to predictive security. The audience was captivated, investors were taking notes, and social media was buzzing with excitement. Then came the Q&A session. "Mr. Rodriguez, can you walk us through your development process?" asked a journalist from TechCrunch. Jake launched into his rehearsed lies about late-night coding sessions and breakthrough moments. That's when I saw the federal marshal approaching the stage, legal documents in hand. "Excuse me," the marshal interrupted, his voice carrying across the silent auditorium. "Jake Rodriguez?" Jake's smile faltered slightly. "Yes, that's me, but I'm in the middle of a presentation. You're being served with a cease and desist order for patent infringement." The marshal handed him the papers as cameras captured every second. "The patent holder is Maya Rodriguez, your sister." The auditorium erupted. Jake's face went white as he stared at the documents. This has to be some kind of mistake," he stammered into the microphone. "Can you explain these allegations?" demanded the moderator. Before Jake could spin another lie, my patent attorney appeared on the main screen via video call. "I can explain," she said calmly. "Mr. Rodriguez has been presenting technology developed entirely by his sister, Maya Rodriguez, as part of her university capstone project 2 years ago." The screens filled with side-by-side comparisons, my original university documentation next to Jake's patent filings. The timestamps were devastating. My project predated his by 18 months. "The smoking gun," my attorney continued, "is right here in Mr. Rodriguez's own patent filing." She highlighted the university serial number embedded in the blueprints. "This tracking number is registered to Maya Rodriguez's 2023 capstone project at Stanford University." Jake tried to recover. "Look, this is clearly a misunderstanding between siblings. Maya has been struggling with some personal issues." "Actually," I said, standing up in the back of the room, "let's clear up those personal issues right now." I pulled out my phone and played the recording I'd made at his birthday party. Jake's voice filled the auditorium. "Maya's so gullible. She actually believed I was proud of her work. Taking those photos was easier than I thought. She's always been desperate for family approval, makes her the perfect victim." The audience gasped. Investors were already standing up to leave. My parents sat frozen in horror as they heard their golden child's true nature broadcast to hundreds of people. But I wasn't finished. "Since we're talking about family issues," I said, my voice steady and strong, "let's discuss the systematic emotional abuse that enabled this theft." I played a compilation of recordings, months of family conversations, where they dismissed my achievements, gaslit my concerns, and supported Jake's lies even when presented with evidence. My mother's voice echoed through the speakers. "Maya's professional jealousy is really concerning. Jake would never steal anything." The room was dead silent except for my family's recorded voices, proving their complicity in destroying my life. Social media exploded with #PatentThief trending worldwide within minutes. Jake's empire collapsed in real time. His lead investor stood up and announced, Secure Home Technologies funding is terminated immediately. We'll be pursuing legal action to recover our investment. Criminal fraud charges were filed before the livestream even ended. Jake's company dissolved within hours. The SEC launched an investigation into securities fraud. His career was over, his reputation destroyed, and his fraudulent success revealed for what it truly was. My parents finally approached me after the chaos died down, tears streaming down their faces. "Maya," my mother whispered, "we are so sorry. We were so wrong." "You weren't just wrong," I replied calmly. "You chose to destroy your own daughter to protect a lie. That's not a mistake, that's a choice." Within weeks, I was fielding licensing deals worth millions. Major tech companies wanted to partner with the real inventor, not the fraud who'd stolen my work. My patent was officially validated, my reputation restored, and my financial future secured. Jake? He's facing federal charges and can't find work anywhere in tech. His name is synonymous with fraud and family betrayal. The public humiliation he orchestrated for me came back to him 1,000-fold. But the real victory wasn't the money or the vindication. It was finally understanding that I never needed their approval to be worthy. I was brilliant, innovative, and valuable with or without my family's recognition. Some people asked if I felt guilty about destroying Jake's life so publicly. My answer is simple: I didn't destroy his life. I just revealed the truth about who he really was. He destroyed his own life the moment he chose theft over integrity. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's letting the truth speak for itself on the biggest stage possible. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story or opinions in the comments.